Terroir is a sense of place as conveyed through the taste of wine. The terroir is a concept that encompasses the varieties of grapes, elevation and shape of the vineyard, type and chemistry of soil, climate and seasonal conditions, and local yeast cultures. Each country, each region, each season, each vineyard. A combination of earth, chemistry, and God's goodness produces the richness of each bottle. Each vineyard, each vintage has its own terroir. Each bottle tells a story. So let's talk about wine and headaches. And we're not talking about hangovers, because I know hangovers can give you a pretty bad headache if you've had too much wine. The big misconception is that sulfites have been causing the major headache that people get whenever they drink red wine. And it's not exactly true. The reason why you're getting these headaches from red wine is because you're probably drinking red wines that are higher in alcohol than others. It's very important to check the back or even the front of a bottle and to see what the alcohol percentage is on the wine. Now keep in mind that there's about a half-ounce variance on there, so if you look at a bottle of wine and it says it's, most of them say 13.5% alcohol by volume, but they give them about a half-ounce variance there, so it could be about 14 or it could be about 13. Now keep in mind there are a lot of products out there on the market that do contain sulfites that you may not know of. Like for instance, orange juice contains sulfites. So wine naturally contains sulfites when it's made. Sometimes the winemaker will add additional sulfites to the wine to keep the wine from re-fermenting in the bottle. The reason why that happens is because, let's take California wine for instance. The grapes can become very, very ripe in California because it's so hot that whenever the grapes become really ripe, they're going to have more sugars. That sugar converts into alcohol, therefore the alcohol percentage is going to be much higher because there's more sugar in the grapes. Now there are ways that a winemaker can tweak that and lower the alcohol content in a wine, but naturally the grapes are going to have more sugars. When the wine goes into a bottle, if there is enough residual sugar left over, that sugar can re-ferment inside the bottle and cause the wine to have a fizzy taste. So what they do is they add additional sulfites to the wine to arrest that fermentation so it's not gonna re-ferment inside the bottle. Now some people say that those sulfites can cause a headache. The parts per million are so small that it's not going to be that's going to give you the headache. It'll be the higher alcohol content. So if you're drinking wine that's above 14.5%, more likely you're going to get a headache from drinking 1 or 2 glasses, depending on how high your tolerance is to alcohol. The reason being is that Europe has a much cooler climate than the countries that I just mentioned. So therefore, the grapes aren't going to be as ripe, there isn't going to be as much residual sugar, and the alcohol content theoretically will be a little bit lower. That's why when you look at European wines, a lot of them will say that they're 12.5%, sometimes like even 14% high for Europe. But there are wines out there that can be a little bit higher than 14%. Most other countries don't have to add the additional sulfites to their wine to keep them from re-fermenting in the bottle because there isn't that much residual sugar left over because the grapes don't get as ripe as the hotter climate countries such as the United States, South America, and Australia. You also want to keep in mind that wine contains histamines. With these histamines, they can cause you to feel congested or get a stuffy nose, and if you're like me, that can cause a sinus headache. So that can also be something that's causing you to have these headaches after drinking red wine. So when selecting a bottle of wine, you're going to want to choose some wines from Europe and pay attention to the alcohol content on the wine and try to stay anywhere from the 9.5 to 10.5 range, or even 12 might even be safe, but this will help you with the headaches that you're getting from red wine.